Today is Wednesday, September 14th, 2011. We're doing an oral history interview for the archives of the University of Alabama in Huntsville. I'm Charles Lundquist, and our guest today is Karen Thiel from Germany. She is the great niece of Walter Thiel, who was a close associate of Werner von Braun's in Peenemünde, and she's been looking into the history of her great-uncle. And with that introduction, can you tell us about your great-uncle, please?
Okay, thank you. I try. My name is Karen Thiel, you said, and I'm living in Düsseldorf in Germany. My family fled from Silesia, Breslau, to Düsseldorf. And Breslau is the town where my great-uncle and my great-father were born. Walter Thiel was born on the 3rd of March 1910. And his brother, my great-grandfather, was 8 years older. And all the information I got about Walter Thiel are from my grandfather. He took the photo album, do you say this?
Yes, yeah? Album is correct.
From Silesia to Düsseldorf, and kept other things, valuable things, in now Poland. Walter Thiel was very intelligent, and they knew it when he was 3 years or 2 years. He could speak very quick for a boy. Okay.
Some boys speak quickly, yes.
And there is a little anecdote that my grandfather put all his toys in a box and locked it with a very complicated lock. And Walter Thiel opened it in a few minutes, and he was only 3 years old. Yeah, you say Walter was highly skilled already at kid's age, so that's the right English expression.
That's very correct, yes.
From his first day in school, Walter Thiel always got grade A. We say in Germany always had a 1 in his
top in his class.
Yeah, top in his class. And he taught his school friends, and so he supported his family. He earned money with teaching his school friends, and it helped the family because they were not very rich. That's a great difference to Werner von Braun's family. His father was a civil servant at the post office, and it's middle class, low middle class, and they couldn't afford school, so he supported his family, and he got scholarship for high school, and it's called Oberrealschule in Breslau. Today we don't have this school form anymore, but I think it's high school in America.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, nice anecdote.
All right.
My grandfather and my father are civil servants too. It's a family history, but my father is a telecommunication engineer. And so you see a little bit tendency in our family. Civil servants and technology is always the way we learned. So I studied biology, by the way. Yes. Should I show some photos?
They probably won't show in there.
No, okay. Yeah. Walter jumped one class. How do you say it?
He skipped a grade.
Skipped a grade. And he finished earlier than his school friends. And as I told you, he had always grade A, and so he kept on in university. He had grade A there.
What university did he go to?
At first to the Breslau Technology University, and there he made his dissertation, and he's a Dr. Ing. It's a PhD technology. I don't know
We're familiar
exactly.
with that.
Okay. He started in Breslau, and he was recommended by his professor Ruff in Breslau to the military in Berlin, and so he finished his dissertation in Berlin at Humboldt University. And now I tell you the name of the dissertation.
Yes, please.
The title, yes. About the addition of compounds with strong polar carbon heterogeneous bonds in unsaturated hydrocarbons.
It's a typical chemistry thesis.
Yeah, but I don't understand what this has to do with his work later on. That's
Well, it has to do with the composition of propellants for
okay.
rocketry.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, Professor Ruff recommended perfect. In the university in Berlin, Walter Thiel met Schumann, who was the leader of the military research at Humboldt University. And he had connections with Dornberger. And that's the reason why Dornberger asked if Walter wanted to work with him at Kummersdorf. And Thiel started his working when Kurt Warmke, you told me you don't know Kurt Warmke, but he was very famous in these times. He died in an experiment in a laboratory, and Walter was his Successor, yes. That's the right word. So, to work for the military meant, and this times you have to go to the military service, but you could do it very shortly. And so he was 2 months in Magdeburg as a radio operator. Yes, that's right. Yes, and after this short time he started his work in Kummersdorf. And very quick he was head of a small research department and the launch sites. He stayed very long in Kummersdorf because when they built up Peenemünde, the launch sites were not finished. So they did their experiments in Kummersdorf. And he went to Karlshagen later. I think I don't have the right time here. It's 39. Probably.
That would be typical.
Yeah. And he went with his whole family to Karlshagen near Peenemünde. In Karlshagen were the flats, the houses for the families. Not all of the engineers lived there, but when you got a family, you normally lived in Karlshagen. He had 2 children, a daughter called Sigrid and a boy called Siegfried.
Very operatic.
Yeah. Werner von Braun got a HC professor title. Do you know what this is? He didn't work for it. Hitler gave him this title.
Honorary title.
Yeah, honorary title.
Yes, we've heard of that.
Okay, and this is one thing Walter Thiel didn't like. This is perhaps he came from a family which was not rich. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but he wanted to do it of his own. And so he started...
Very admirable attitude.
Yeah, I think so too. And he started his state doctorate while he was working in Peenemünde. In Peenemünde, his job was head of research department, and he was one of the vice presidents, if you can say it like this. He was, I say it in German, Vertreter of Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun was the head of all departments, and in this department where Walter Thiel led, he was the vice of Werner von Braun.
Yeah. Deputy would be the word we would use.
I have to think about...
No, that's you're doing very well.
Okay. Yes, and then he finished his state doctorate in Peenemünde and had to go to university half year. Only then it's a professor title. So he tried to quit in Peenemünde in 1943. He was a little bit fed up with all what's going on in Peenemünde. It was not only research anymore. They produced the V2, and these were things he didn't like, because he said the rocket is not finished. We can't produce it. It has a lot of mistakes in it.
It's not ready for production.
It's not ready for production, and a lot of engineers thought about this, but they had no chance. It was naive. And, what's the word of naive? It's
naive is a good word.
Yeah. Okay. So he tried to quit, but Dornberger said, "No, it's not possible. We need you here." And the next day, he was dead. It's a strange story, because he was the only engineer, or one of two engineers, who died in the bombing of the Royal Air Force on 17th of August 1943.
This was the British Royal Air Force.
Yeah, British Royal Air Force. And only two engineers died. The most people who died were families and Zwangsarbeiter, working persons.
Prisoners.
And yeah, prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Zwangsarbeiter, you know
Russians.
the word? Prisoners from the East who had to work for them. Not a KZ.
Conscripted prisoners.
Inscripted prisoners. Yeah, and he died because he was not in the right bunker or Splittergraben. His house was... a bomb got in his house and killed the whole family, wife and the two kids. And my great uncle has always a suitcase. What was the name for the suitcase? The small suitcase.
Briefcase.
Briefcase with him, where his state doctorate in patents. All the patents were in, and this one is missed. It could be burned, or it could be stolen. Both.
Well, the bomb might have destroyed it.
Yeah.
Easily.
I think so too. Yeah, in 1944 he got the decoration from Hitler, but not Werner von Braun, and a few people got the decoration, and he posted the decoration. And it's the Ritterkreuz des Kriegsverdienstkreuzes mit Schwerter. You can't translate it, it's not so important, but we got a nice letter from Werner von Braun. He told my grandfather about this decoration.
Posthumously.
Posthumously, yes. In 1907, NASA named a crater on the dark side of the moon after my great uncle Walter Thiel. And yeah, if you want more information about it, I have a website, www.walterthiel.de for Deutschland, Germany.
Why don't you repeat that so that people listening to this can get it for sure?
Okay, www.walterthiel,
Spell it out.
Thiel.de for Germany, Deutschland.
Very good.
Okay, then you have questions?
Yes. Now, how did you get interested or come about working on this history of your great uncle?
Yeah, it's not so long ago. I visited Peenemünde in 2008 with my parents, and we had a special guidance from the museum, and he told us about Walter Thiel, and we were very surprised what his job was and how high he was.
He was very important.
Yeah, and how important he was. And my father was not so really interested in his own family story. My grandparents died early. I was really a little child. And so we missed a lot of stories until then. And I started my research 2008 at the Munich Archive, Deutsche Museum. And now I went to the military archive in Freiburg in Germany, and now I'm visiting you. Perhaps in an archive here are some informations about Walter Thiel, and we got the photos. That's the only things, and we have some letters from my grandmother to my grandfather about the life of Walter Thiel. He asked in the 50s, so it's not live, it's posthum also. And what we have, I have to thank here Werner von Braun, that he collected money for my family after the war, and so they could survive and build up a new life in Germany. Everything was destroyed, and they came from Silesia to Düsseldorf and had nothing. And so Werner von Braun and his colleagues collected money, and thank you for that.
That's a very nice thing to hear.
Yeah. Perhaps you have the letter my grandfather wrote to Werner von Braun. Perhaps it's in an archive
It
here.
might be in the archives at the Space and Rocket Center.
I have a look after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're very pleased you were here to tell us this history of your great uncle. He was an important man in the early days of rocketry, and he deserves to be recognized and known. This is one way of doing that.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you for this possibility.
Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate your effort.